Fourth time's a charm.
Yep. Welcome back to Let's Play the Cave, and I'm School Monkey, and I'm here with Richie.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. I'm showing this little bit right here because this is the entrance to the twins' section. And there's 3 gate switches, and you actually need 4 people to open that because the twins can sort of double themselves. So we can't go that way, so we have to go this other way, which is a really roundabout path.
Roundabout route.
Yeah. To the time travelers level.
I just noticed that when the time travelers walk in, the little rings make it look like it's actually spelling what it's sounding like. Ooh.
That's kind of cute. Actually, if you want a second, she can go over water that's flat like that, which has no purpose at all. Yeah, but it's kind of neat. And since we're at the time travelers level, I'm not sure, but there's kind of a Bill and Ted phone booth down there.
Oh, yeah.
I like to think it's for Bill and Ted.
You know George Carlin was in those movies?
He's dead now. That's an in-joke.
Why does the time traveler take fall damage if she has the hover boots?
I think they're not very strong. She can hover off the ground, but you know.
But if she could do that, then she could do it anywhere.
I don't know.
No doubt you have realized by now that here in the cave, the rules of time and space are not exactly, well, set in stone, so to speak. But for the time traveler, time and space are mere playthings, tools manipulated to pay back petty slights. So, prepare yourselves for a tale of revenge that spans 1,000,000 years. And remember, even with the best of intentions, time travel can be unpredictable. And with the worst of intentions, well, I guess we're about to see. Oh, I'm sorry, I was just trying to scare you.
I was spooked.
I really like the music cue that kind of starts there. It's all sort of creepy future. So this is the time traveler's level. We don't really know much about her story yet, other than that she sort of drives a floating car and she works at a history museum. And this one's for the scientist, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what her experimentational research got her.
Unlimited power, huh? That tall guy looks like Stephen Merchant. Like, a lot like Stephen Merchant.
Okay, so these stalactites and stalagmites, we'll see those again.
Which one's which?
One comes from the top and one comes from below.
Which one is it?
Stalactites come from above, because they're tall with a T.
They hold tight to the ceiling.
Oh, I haven't heard that before.
And the ones on the bottom might make it all the way up.
I haven't heard that before. I like that. That's pretty good.
I think that was Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Gosh.
Shout out to Bill Nye the Science Guy, by the way.
This is a very science level, so you might get more opportunity to shout out to scientists.
Hey!
I just want to point out that what I've done is I've dragged a rock to block the water flow. And that doesn't have a purpose right here, but I was demonstrating something that will be important later. But now we have this fuse, and if you were watching, we have to power the time machine with this fuse. Yeah. Pretty straightforward puzzle to start us off with. This level gets pretty convoluted because it's a time traveler, and there's a time machine. We will be traveling through time. But this is actually a pretty fun level. It's just a little difficult to keep what time period you need to do stuff in straight, which we will see. And there's a bit of backtracking, which I have helpfully edited out of the video. Meanwhile, what's over here?
I always like time travel stuff in movies and games and whatnot.
I do too.
It's really interesting.
I do too. I know people say they're getting tired of it, but I enjoy it. We have a rock that we can push. That's about it. So,
Curse that gravity.
And it was a very, cylindrical rock as well. It wasn't even round. It was a cylinder. Alright, so shall we see where the time machine takes us?
Okay, sure.
Yeah? You ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Behold, science!
Alright.
I am.
And if we travel back, we can't go that way. And if we travel forward...
Oh, it's you. I thought we fired you. Still sore about getting passed over for greatest employee of all time? I'm sure you saw my commemorative photo on the way in. Don't feel bad. My family has been working here for generations. I take that back. Do feel bad.
Well, personality must not be a big hiring point here.
There's our central conflict for the time traveler. This guy's kind of a buffoon, I guess, but he's the greatest employee of all time.
He's got a bad case of Muppet mouth.
Yeah, he does. I've time traveled back to the scientist here, just to show you that they're still stuck. But if you take a look at that thing that was blocking them, we can travel to one more time period.
The future. Oh, wait,
It could be the future. Only if you play cool games like Enslaved.
Ah, prehistory. My formative years.
No, it's prehistory, sorry.
Oh.
So this helpful ladder plant lets us climb up to an area that is similar to the one we've seen before, but has its own little features in it.
That plant reminds me of the things in Mario.
A little bit, yeah. So here we've got the same thing.
I see what you gotta do.
Yeah? Do you want to explain it?
You're gonna put the rock in front of the water to stop the stalactite from forming.
That's absolutely right.
Yay!
Yay! Alright, so I'm going to move the time traveler over, which for a reason that you'll see in a second. And then we will swap back to modern era. And then we'll see if that worked. Ta-da!
Yay!
Yay!
I'm glad the only thing you could do worked.
Yep. Well, we could have gone exploring in the future museum, but I didn't want to do that just yet. So I wanted to comment about these buckets. I've sort of gone overboard with them. I didn't really need to bring them. And I'm not going to use them for the purpose that I was bringing them for anyway. I was just illustrating that you can bring them along for a point in this level, which you'll see when we get to it. So, we left the time traveler in prehistory, so we'll check on her. Oh. Yeah, that's what happens.
Well,
which, I do not get tired of that. That's just too funny. But we'll head back to the future. So, do you feel like visiting a museum?
Sure, why not?
Okay. So let's just check out this area real fast and get it out of the way. We've
Okay.
still got the time traveler skeleton there.
Oh, cool, they got Galaga.
Yeah. Do we? Is it Galaga? The scientist can activate this, actually. Nobody else can.
It should be Galaga.
It's thermonuclear war.
Would you like to play a game?
And I don't think she can go the other way. No, she gets blocked off. There's nothing over there.
Oh, well.
And we're gonna sort of drop down.
Got my own hover parking spot. Came with getting greatest employee of all time.
Yep.
What's the deal with those purple tanks with the soda cans?
Well, they revere grog soda, I guess.
This exhibit features the ancient combustion engine, or as it was commonly known at the time, the dynohypernator. In the early 21st century, humans used these primitive engines to power everything from toothbrushes to toasters, even elevators. Ancient man's addictions to toast and teeth brushing quickly exhausted the world's oil supply. Once the precious substance was finally depleted, ancient man was forced to find more advanced sources of power, research that led directly to the modern hoverboot design. It also set the stage for the bad oral hygiene fashion craze we still see to this day.
I want to comment real fast on the cut that was back there. That was me going down there and exploring, and there was absolutely nothing down there, so I just cut it out. So that combustion machine powers the elevator, which won't work right now because there's no power to the combustion machine. But here's our second exhibit.
Although no actual rangfusts have ever been uncovered, Top archaeologists believe they were commonly used as some kind of head accessory from the 1940s to the late 2100s. They came in several styles and colors to project the mood of the wearer. Upon entering a social setting, each person would assess the crowd by the types of rangfusts they were wearing. It is thought that World War I was started when Sir Winston wore a particularly inappropriate rangfust at a cocktail party with the American President Franklin D. Bon Jovi.
So this museum's idea of history is pretty interesting. And that little room should look vaguely familiar, actually. As should a bucket. But what's this? We had locked doors earlier, so... Can we just try taking that? The smurg?
Uh-oh.
No touching the exhibits.
We cannot have the smurg.
Oh.
I think I tried grabbing it again, actually.
Smurg backwards is
Archaeologists
Grums.
have yet to determine the original use of the smurg. Thousands of these strange artifacts have been recovered at ancient dig sites around the world. People living in long-gone eras often carried several in their pockets at all times, leading some experts to attribute to the smurg a religious or mythological significance. Other historians dismiss this reasoning, claiming a more mundane use by teenage boys to twirl and braid their hair. We may never know the true use of the smurg. What do you think it did?
What do you think it did?
Greatest
I think it
employee
was
of
used
all
by the
time
boys.
says, no
Okay.
touching the exhibits.
With their gloriously long curly hair.
And then you'd say it makes them look like girls. You're so rude.
I think I've just misinterpreted history, that's all. And, nothing over here.
Those purple crystals remind me of the ones from the Crash Bandicoot games.
I haven't played those.
You should probably play them. They're pretty fun, even today.
So a little more of the monk's story. His flies have escaped his dinner bowl.
Good old Three Eyes.
Mm-hmm. And we've got one more exhibit down here, which is a pretty interesting one, I think.
Hey kids, smell like a real live dinosaur with our newest interactive exhibit experience. Dinosaurs existed over 10,000 years ago, when they roamed the world's highest mountain peaks in search of fruits and berries. Dinosaurs were social animals that lived in groups governed by a rigid organizational structure. An alpha dinosaur was the lord of his tribe, leading foraging trips and assigning tasks. Fun fact, dinosaurs required no sleep and had to keep in nearly constant motion to survive, much like the Amazon forest-dwelling penguin.
Let's push it.
Now you smell like a stinky old dinosaur. Isn't that great?
I think it's great.
This game knows me so well.
So the place we haven't explored yet is prehistory.
And now you smell like a dinosaur.
Yeah, well, I wanted to fit in, you know? Again, that was me discovering there was nothing down there to show, so I cut it out. So let's visit this weird little nook again. And now, in prehistory... So we've seen something like that before. We've actually seen almost all of the parts of these levels puzzles now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some interesting sort of statues sitting around, actually.
Yeah, looks like that guy made a bunch of statues of himself. Or maybe someone else made statues of him. Who knows?
I don't know. Finally, another piece of the time traveler's story. She's not happy about the greatest employee of all time. That was his own parking space, though. It was clearly marked.
I like those pictures. They're very funny.
Dog ahead of his time.
No noises there? Okay.
Wheel still not roll. Why not Thog make wheel work? This will be Thog greatest creation.
Well, it doesn't roll. It pushes, but doesn't roll.
Thog need more shape for wheel.
So Thog knows he wants to make a wheel, but he doesn't. He's carved his own face perfectly well, but he doesn't understand. Doesn't understand how a wheel is supposed to work, I guess. So we'll just leave that there. What's over here? Ooh.
Looks like you're in dino danger. Ah!
Maybe it's because I smell like a dinosaur.
Is this the ancestor of the other big lizards?
Maybe. That's a good question, actually.
Don't change the future by doing something stupid. Meanwhile, in the future...
We actually don't need to go to the future just yet. We need to go to the past.
Aww. You've changed the future.
No, I feel kind of bad about that, actually.
Unless that was supposed to happen.
Well, we've killed that dinosaur for no reason. But we don't smell like a dinosaur anymore, so... Heading back...
The greatest employee of all time award comes with a pretty big raise.
Yeah, I can imagine why the time traveler's not real happy about him being greatest employee of all time and her getting fired. So killing the dinosaur didn't actually enable us to grab that key.
Are qualified to touch the exhibits.
I don't know why it would, but
No,
I'm glad
I
you
don't know.
clarified.
I'm just
Try
showing
it.
the option.
Okay, there you go. Again, murdering the scientist again.
You are not touching that exhibit.
I left that in because that's the key phrase, as long as I'm around.
Ah.
Oh, okay. So, let's mess around here with this.
Okay, let's do it.
There's no bucket. There's the monk's skeleton. We have a bucket, but again, I'm not going to grab it. And the dead dinosaur left us some oil.
That's how oil works. It just all turns into oil.
It's just a puddle like that above
Yeah.
ground.
Yeah.
Can you imagine why we might want oil?
To power the engine that doesn't have any more oil. Because it's the
Right.
future.
Yep. And because combustion engines run on oil. So we've actually created a busted well.
Here you can see the latest addition to our collection. A newly discovered rangfust factory.
I'm sorry, a rangfust factory. But there's still no bucket. Except for those buckets I left at the beginning of the level.
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile, in modern era...
what do those
I don't know.
newspapers
I
say?
should cut this. I don't know. You can't really look at them. They're just sort of there. I like the commentary that in the modern era, there's just too many newspaper stands.
It's realistic, right?
Yeah. So we have to keep that handle turned in order to pull the bucket up. And now, there's a bucket. A rangfust.
This is thought to be the only remaining rangfust in existence, and was
Except for
recently
ours.
unearthed beneath this very museum. The discovery has driven historians to radically revise their theories as to the rangfust's function. Experts now believe the artifact was used in a primitive and dangerous form of recreation. Children would hurl the rangfust at one another, hoping to land the open end on an opponent's head. A hole-in-one, as it was known. Fortunately for today's youth, such barbaric traditions have been lost to history.
I like the hot dog on a scepter. Yeah. So now that we have a bucket, another bucket.
We can
Get
get
some
some
oil.
oil.
Yeah. Oh, wait, what was up there?
Uh,
Alright.
but they wouldn't have written it that way if you changed the past. It wouldn't have said, like, historians now believe. It would have just said historians believe.
I don't know. You gotta give it some video game license.
Believe me, I'm an expert on time travel.
So we found a wheel. Do we know anyone who could use a wheel?
Probably gross man in the past who needs a wheel.
What is that thing? It's not an exhibit, is it? Nah. Can't be. Greatest employee of all time knows every inch of every exhibit we've got. Well, have fun with that, whatever it is.
He doesn't even know it's a wheel. Because he's the product of his past self. He doesn't know what a wheel is. But we can fix that.
I like all the squeaky sounds the wheel makes when you roll it.
It's cute.
Sounds like
I
a
really
balloon.
believe I'm pushing a large airplane tire. Here we go. Here comes the wheel. It's rolling in.
Wheel! Thog love wheel! Thog need invent patent, then patent wheel!
So maybe in the future he'll be gone because he patented the wheel?
Yep.
No.
Greatest employee of all time. They don't give that to just anyone.
We still have something to do. Any ideas?
Are you gonna get him eaten by the dinosaur?
Well, the dinosaur's dead.
Oh, well, are you gonna wake up the dinosaur? Or gonna unkill the dinosaur?
No?
You're gonna drop the stuff on his head?
Good one.
You should have dropped a statue of himself on him. That would have been funnier.
I can't interact with the statue of himself, but that would have been funnier.
I agree.
Ready? Here we go.
Yeah.
Let's change the future.
Murder! Yes!
And that's that. All of that poor caveman's descendants are dead forever. Well, what's done is done. There's no going back on that decision now. Well, unless someone else screws around with the timeline some more. You know, time machines really take the fun out of trying to teach hard lessons about consequences.
Nah.
And in a surprise twist, he was the time traveler's descendant or whoever.
Nope. You're wrong.
That would have been a twist.
But he's gone forever, so that's okay, right?
At least the time traveler has some cool thumbs up poses.
Yeah, she does.
Oh yeah, so she could take all the stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
Finally, the key out of this chronologically contorted collapse of continuity. All it took was the complete eradication of a family line dating back countless millennia. To be fair to our heroes, I can understand wanting to get out of here. Oof, that dinosaur smell is really bad.
Speaking of the dinosaur smell, you get an achievement for spraying all 3 characters with the dinosaur smell at once. But that's a lot of backtracking, which I have patience to deal with. And now that we've got a key, we can leave our buckets behind.
No,
And,
not the buckets.
No, the buckets.
You should have every bucket in the game.
And we can carry on
Yay!
to the zoo.